To this forum for candidates for wards 1 and 4 in the city of Coon Rapids for city council. There are multiple candidates for both of these seats, and therefore these candidates will be on the primary ballot on your August 9th primary election. All the candidates were invited to the forum and all are here. Says something about the citizens of Coon Rapids. I'm GERI Nelson. I'm voter service co-chair for the League of Women Voters ABC, and I live in Champlin. This forum is sponsored by the ABC League of Women Voters. A is Anoka and Andover, B is Blaine, and C is Coon Rapids and Champlin, plus other cities around them. Co-sponsoring tonight, we have the Coon Rapids Rotary Club, a local service organization composed of business leaders, professionals, educators, and active citizens dedicated to their model of service above self. The Transformative Circle is here tonight as a co-sponsor. It's a diverse group of people coming together in Coon Rapids to foster greater understanding and appreciation for our community, cultural differences, and customs. And third, the Alpha Rho chapter of the Delta Kappa Gamma and International Society of Women Educators. The Transformative Circle will be coming up to ask a question at one point during the forum tonight. The League of Women Voters does not support or oppose any candidate or political party, but we strive to help citizens become informed voters, and we also advocate for important issues that we've studied. If you're interested in the League, check out our website at lwvabcmn.org. Men, women, and young people can join. Here's how the evening will run. We'll start with the Ward 1 candidates, ask them 2 questions for which they have prepared answers. Then we will go to questions from the audience and from our sponsor, co-sponsor, and then they will have a 1-minute closing statement at the end. We'll then move on to the Ward 4 candidates in the same way. Our timer will help us. All right, let's get started with the Ward 1 candidates. And our first question tonight is, describe your background and community involvement. Describe your background and community involvement. And we're going to start with Don HEIKKILA.
Thank you very much. I'm in my second life here in Coon Rapids. My first life was back in the 70s, where I started, my first job in Coon Rapids was with Zaire Shopper City. Then I went on to Target, left Target after 7 years there, went to work for TJ Maxx in St. Louis Park. And then I met my wife actually at the Ground Round in Coon Rapids. So I refer to my first life, first part of Coon Rapids as BC, which is before Connie. And since I left TJ Maxx, I left TJ Maxx to become a stay-at-home dad, and was a stay-at-home dad for a number of years. And I went to work for the company that ran the Holiday Inn Express and the Country Inn and Suites in Coon Rapids. They built another hotel in Inver Grove Heights, Minnesota, where I have been managing for the last 16 years. It's a great occupation. I enjoy it a great deal.
Thank you. Bill MAHAFFEY.
Correct.
Bill MAHAFFEY.
Bill MAHAFFEY. Like Don, next to me, I grew up in Coon Rapids and lived here until the early 80s. Moved to Blaine, lived in St. Paul and Highland Park for a while, where I was on the Highland District Council for a couple of years. Have friends that still live in Coon Rapids. When they had a house that came up on the market on their block, they said, hey, you need to check it out. Decided to buy it 8 years ago, and my wife Holly and our 2 dogs live there, and it's a lot of fun when you get to know your neighbors on the block, which is a little different than when I grew up, because you kind of knew who was next door to you on both sides, and that was about it. Now I tend to know a good chunk of the people on my street, so that's a lot of fun. I'm Vice President of Custom Wheel Specialists, and it's over in St. Paul, and which is a lot of fun as well. It's very, very time consuming.
Very good. Dale Cook, would you tell us about your background and
Certainly will.
community involvement?
I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for the opportunity to come here tonight and speak. Dale Cook is my name. Live at 2020 127th Avenue Northwest in Coon Rapids for 26-plus years. My background is sales and sales management. Only had 2 jobs in my life. Had to take a little bit of an early out because I was in a bad accident, had a broken back, and well, those things happen. So anyway, I got to start coming over here and watching this, and I go, this is kind of interesting. And by the way, my wife's a retired school teacher of 34 years of public service. I'm very active, my wife and I are very active at Faith Lutheran Church. We do a lot of things over there. One of the things that we do is we have a meal that we put out every month called Family Table. We're there all the time. I deliver Meals on Wheels. Very active member of the Coon Rapids Lions, where we've given $6.3 million back to the city, and I'm very proud of that.
Thank you, Dale. Jerry Pierce, please tell us your background and community experience.
Well, I want to thank the Women's League of Voters. I just want to thank them very much to give us this opportunity. I'm Jerry Pierce. I moved out here in 1964 when Father Reiser started building the church out here. Was pretty tight with him. My wife just passed away on October 20th. We had 54 years together. She had 43 years out at Majestic Oaks. She brought in our youngest daughter, Barbie, and she's been out at Majestic Oaks for 17 years already, sitting in her mother's place. I have five sons, 6 daughters. I lost one of my sons in '06 to cancer. And like I say, I come out here in '06.
Okay.
And I've been out here and I haven't moved out. I've still been here. And I just got my 50-year pin for being a bricklayer. So
Okay,
I know construction, and I've been around it since '91. Thank you.
Thank you. Julia Stevens, please tell us what your community involvement and background is.
Well, I've lived in Coon Rapids since 1984. We've raised 2 boys, Andrew and Adam, that are 29 and 26, and have gone through the public schools here. And I'm a teacher. I too lost my husband 2 years ago, and to a blood clot to the lung, and he died in our home. And we've been seeing some trials and things like that, and pulling ourselves out that way too. I've been on the Planning Commission for 8 years, and that's why I wanted to run for City Council. I see some great things that we're doing on the Planning Commission, and I would like to see it go forward and take it a step further with the council. I've been on, thank you, I've been Boy Scout leader, Sunday school teacher, choir, I've been through the Citizens Academy here in Coon Rapids, so I've been involved for many years in the city.
Thank you. Brad Greskowiak. We'll get it.
Thank you to the League of Women Voters and the City of Coon Rapids for holding this forum. My name is Brad Greskowiak. I've lived here in Coon Rapids for the past 28 years, and I've lived in Ward 1 for the past 15 years. I'm married to my wonderful wife, Kim, of 24 years. We have 4 children, all 4 of which have attended Epiphany School here in town, 2 graduating Coon Rapids High School. My youngest daughter will be entering Northdale Middle School this fall. My oldest son will be in Coon Rapids High School this fall. In addition, my oldest daughter also attended Anoka Ramsey Community College. I myself attended Hibbing Community College, where I studied engineering, but I've made my career in sales and account management. I'm currently employed as a strategic global account manager for a Fortune 500 company, and I make my office in Ward 1 at my home. I'm an active member of the Church of Epiphany, where I've been all my time here in Coon Rapids. I also do volunteer work, and I've been on some commissions over there. I've also been in leadership roles with the Northern Star Council Scouting Organization, and I'm an assistant coached for the Coon Rapids Andover American Little League. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is, what are your qualifications for serving on the Coon Rapids City Council, and why are you seeking this office? We'll start with Bill MAHAFFEY.
Qualifications. Sometimes I like to say, is anyone really qualified to be on the council? I've been in business for the past 7 years. I've been in sales before that. I know how to get things done as far as in the manner of multitasking, figuring out problems. The company that I have is, there's not very many people in, so I get to wear many hats. I joke and say I can tell 10 different people at a party I do 10 different things, and I'm not lying. Before moving back to Coon Rapids, I lived in Highland Park in St. Paul. I was on the Highland District Council for about 2 years. And while there, I was on the Transportation Committee and some of the other planning commissions as far as working with people at their properties and how to get variances and stuff like that and work with the city council.
Thank you. Let's go on to Dale Cook. You're going to tell us your qualifications for serving on the Coon Rapids City Council and why you're seeking the office.
Well, the reason I'm seeking the office is I think we're going in the wrong direction when I take a look at Coon Rapids Boulevard and I see what's not happened over there. My qualifications are, well, I went to school to be a school teacher, and I never did teach because I didn't have a teaching certificate, and I needed to get a job so I could make some money, like a lot of people. And I came here in 1972. I had no idea or no plan on staying here in the Twin Cities because I'm a farm boy from Sodak. That stands for South Dakota. And I met my wife on an airplane going to Hawaii in 1978. Fortunately, a lady had a heart attack. And my good friend Jerry Lang, that's sitting here in the audience, this guy saved more lives than Carter's Got Pills. And we worked on this lady for about 45 minutes, and that's how Jennifer and I met. I do a lot of volunteer work through our Lions Club, which I mentioned a minute ago. We've given back to the community over $6.3 million. I was just given a task a short time ago. We'll finish that up later.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Jerry Pierce, what are your qualifications and why are you seeking the office?
Well, I think from being out here from northeast Minneapolis and coming out in 1964, I've been around construction since 1951, and I was president of the Bricklayers for 10 years. And like I said, I got my 50-year pin this year. And I think with the knowledge that I have learned through all the trades, being a foreman with the bricklayers and working with the laborers and the plumbers and all the other trades, you learn how to get along with everybody and how to work things out. I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy hearing people's problems, and I like to help them work their problems out. And I enjoy, like I said, 50 years around construction. You have to know, and I think we need that around this city.
Thank you. Julia Stevens, your qualifications and why you're running.
Well, I've been a school teacher for 32 years, teaching mainly kindergarten and special education. I've had to adapt to a lot of changes that have taken place in education over the last 32 years. And so I feel that with our parent-teacher conferences, listening to parents, working on our different committees that we've had to do, I've learned to be a team player. I've also been a president of our teachers union for 6 years. So working with the administration on both sides, complaints, dealing with that. I was also president of the American Little Leagues Association, and the men had often said, a woman can't do that job. And I said, I don't need to know how to run baseball. I just need to know how to help you guys do a better job at what you're doing. And we had a great year. I've gotten lots of compliments with that. And also on the hockey board also. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Brad Greskowiak, what is your background, or what are your qualifications for serving on the board? And
Thank you. My qualifications are primarily business. I've had 30 years of account management experience primarily with large corporations, but I've also been a small business owner, so I know what happens with small business and interacting with government. I believe that personal experience together gives me good qualifications for this role. I also have a very strong math background, being an engineer. I value listening to people's opinions, and people value my opinion and my level-headed thinking. I am by nature a problem solver, and I like working with other people and working things out. I'd like to act as a constituent voice for this ward. I know that our system of government requires engaged citizens willing to step up, and that's why I'm seeking this office, in order to serve the community and get more actively involved in my community. I feel I can bring new ideas and new perspective to the council. The way I look at it, Coon Rapids has a lot going for it. We're close to both downtowns, we have low crime rate, we got great public services. I want to make sure that we appropriate our taxpayers' tax dollars appropriately as we build into the future.
thank you. Don HEIKKILA, what are your qualifications and why are you running?
Well, I too am a business operator. I managed a hotel for the last almost 17 years now. And I realize the importance of dealing with guests. I didn't realize I have many tasks in my job as well. I like to say that I can do everything from unplug the toilets to have a meeting with the governor. I realize the importance of tourism to the communities. I realize small businesses fill up my hotel at night, 2, 3, 4 rooms a night, and that is significant. And small businesses are very important to the community and to most communities. And so small business experience and tourism. I'm a board member of the Chamber of Commerce where I work. I'm also I'm also the chair of the Convention and Visitor Bureau where I work. So I have significant experience in tourism, and I think it's all important.
Thank you. Okay, our first question from the audience is, what are the 1 or 2 major issues that you see facing Coon Rapids, and what are your proposed solutions? That's a lot to do in 1 minute, but give it a try. So Dale Cook, you'll start.
Thank you. As I stated earlier, Coon Rapids Boulevard, every time you drive by there, I go, holy cow, how can this be? We put $26 million into that wasteland over there. That's what I call it. We have nothing to show for it. They don't even cut the grass. I'm the guy that takes the pictures and brings them to the city council meetings. Now let's talk about the $16+ million of lost tax revenue. Let's see, if we take 26 and 16, I think that's 42. Now one of my others is Sand Creek Park. When they brought that up, and they said, well, we got to redo that. I said, well, what's wrong with it? Well, they're hitting the ball farther. I said, move the fence back. Well, the equipment's changed. I said, buy them a new bat and ball. Well, they didn't like that. So they said the budget's $6.3 million. They just went over it a little bit by 48%. In the private sector, somebody would be held accountable, but over here it doesn't seem to happen. That's why I got involved.
Thank you. Jerry Pierce, what 1 or 2 major issues do you see facing Coon Rapids, and how would you solve them?
Well, the way the city is being operated, it's do it right now. Nobody is focusing on what's going to happen with Coon Rapids Boulevard. They think, oh, we're going to get the money right now and we're going to really build something. They have no focus on what is going on. I've been around construction and I have learned this. You work with people. You don't hurry up and build something when you don't have the money. The tax structure, I can't sit here and promise you that I'm going to cut the taxes because the taxes are there already. But the taxes got to be slowed down. And I look at that very, very seriously. So I think, like I say, if we could go into the time tunnel, 15 years from now, you look back and Coon Rapids Boulevard will be the same thing as it is now, if something isn't done.
Julia Stevens, and what are your major issues in this campaign?
Well, I've really enjoyed watching different development as it comes through the Planning Commission and watching it go, change, and develop from some of the projects that we have seen. My biggest concern, though, too, is also Coon Rapids Boulevard. It doesn't mean that it just has been a long time, and it happened because of the way the economy went. So I know the other two gentlemen, too, are upset about that, but I think we're trying to do a good plan with it, take the time, but it's also you need to find the people that are willing to come in and buy the land or what they're going to put up there. We want something quality. We've looked at different plans, and it just hasn't been what the right fit is. So I think what the council is doing now, they're looking at lots of different things, and I think I'd like to be part of that team to finish this, since we started this with the comp plan in 2008. Thank you.
Brad, I may get this by the end of the night. Brad GRESKOWIAK, what are your one or two major issues?
I think the two major issues that I can see is, one is our lack of undeveloped land here in Coon Rapids. Our community developed early and it developed quickly, so now we've got to look at redevelopment opportunities within our community. The other thing is that we're an aging community. So as our residents get older, I think it's going to be important to create affordable assisted living housing in the community, and that's going to do a couple of things. I think that'll help those folks stay in our community. It'll also then open up the homes. There's a lot of great starter homes in Coon Rapids, and the Homes for Generations is a good way to improve those homes and bring in younger families. And another thing that we would need to do is to bring in younger families and even younger businesses is to invest a little bit more in the electronic infrastructure that we have. High-speed internet and things along that nature will bring in families, it'll bring in investment, and it'll keep our community vibrant in the future.
Thank you. Don HEIKKILA, what are your major issues?
Well, like everybody here, I can mention Coon Rapids Boulevard, and it's been an issue for years, and it's a work in progress, and we'd like to see progress be a little bit faster. I would like to encourage small businesses. I think the small businesses are the backbone of the community. It doesn't have to be a company that has 40 employees. It can be a company that has 5 employees. I'd like to encourage small businesses. I would like to see our city remain a nice, comfortable place where people will come back for generations. My wife and I used the Home for Generations program on our house about a year ago, and it was very successful. I'd like to see that used and expanded because we do have a lot of housing in the area that or does need some of that type of service or type of work. I'd like to see it expanded to things, smaller things like driveways, walking the neighborhoods, simple things like that that make the neighborhood more appealing to outsiders.
Thank you. Bill Mahaffey, what are your one or two major issues?
Well, I'd like to say Coon Rapids Boulevard like everybody else, because I do drive down there, or over by the commuter rail stop where that was supposed to be a great development and it's still a vacant lot, but somebody's going to get a sweetheart deal out of the property. But some of the other issues I look at that I don't think get mentioned a lot is just how the city functions and either nickel and dimes its citizens for fees, whether it's a dog kennel permit, a permit on the house. It's, just some of the ridiculous things that they do. And the other thing is the failure of the city, that a lot of the people in positions don't like to get back to its citizens. They, you make a phone call and maybe you get a call back in 2 days, maybe it's a week later, maybe it's an email saying sorry, but it's, they need to get back to us quicker.
Thank you. I'm going to call on Betsy from Transformative Circle now to ask a question of the candidates.
Hi. Transformative Circle is the name of the group formed from an action plan October 21st, 2015. It was developed in collaboration and support with Coon Rapids Lions Club, City of Coon Rapids Community Strength Foundation, and Coon Rapids Community Partners. Community members and civic leaders convened to develop a working plan to address diversity and inclusion in Coon Rapids. The overarching goals are greater appreciation for diversity, greater education of diversity, greater service of diversity, greater relationships in diversity. In what way specifically have you been involved in cultural and religious diversity in our community? And how would you be involved in supportive of Transformative Circle if elected to Ward 1? Thank you.
Thank you. Jerry Pierce, please answer that first.
Well, there isn't an organization around, I don't think, in the state of Minnesota like the, what's the,
Transformative Circle.
no, the, what's it called, the one you belong to, Dale?
Lions?
The Coon Rapids Lions. And they have been nothing but kicked around for years. They do their things and certain people get in on a console and they take away the tickets on hockey, on baseball. They give them to their friends. I think it should be looked into more, and I think it should be strengthened up, and people should know about what is going on. There's too much being hidden on people who are contributing to this city. And it's got to be stopped. And the Lions need help, and let's give them what they want.
Thank you. Julia Stevens, what has been your involvement in diversity issues, and how would you continue with that?
Well, I think too, with being a teacher, we're really aware of trying to bring all of the students together. So with that, making it more into the community, our neighborhoods are changing from over the years, from 30 years that I've been living here too. And it just more, I like the getting out and meeting more of my community members, also the neighborhood where we can do the night to unite. And I liked too when we could get out and do the meeting in the park, and you get to know more of your constituents that way too. So I think just by working maybe with the Lions and also with the other organizations that are close by, I think that will be very helpful in getting more of us together. Thank you.
Brad Greskowiak.
Very good. I just
Aim for the pull-off.
I think a great thing, and I've been to a couple of them over the last few weeks, is this neighborhood meeting in the park. I think that's a great way to get out there and meet the community. It's a very great way to have people come in and meet each other. I know that our community, I realize it's not really all that diverse in terms of population. I think it's maybe only 12 or 14% diverse population. Some of the other things that I've been active in and have noticed and maybe influenced a little bit is with all my kids going through Coon Rapids High School, there's a lot of diversity at that high school, and there's a lot of openness about that, and those are some things that I could probably help move forward in the future.
Thank you. Don HEIKKILA.
We are active at the United Methodist Church of Anoka, and I'm a staff parish chair over there, and I see our congregation becoming more and more diverse. And it's nice to see that we have different ethnic groups coming and feeling like they can be part of the Methodists. And it's very nice to encounter that and to encourage that. As I'm knocking the doors in Coon Rapids, I'm seeing, and quite a few doors are opened by different ethnic groups, different nationalities. So it's a good thing to see. My business has a lot of minority guests, and my staff, I try to keep as many minority staff members as I can, and we're very successful with that. I look at my guest register and see the different nationalities and ethnic groups, and I think it's something that has to be addressed, something that all of us need to be aware of and do our best to encourage.
Thank you. Bill Mahaffey, are you, what has been your involvement in diversity issues?
One of the biggest things, I think, is patronize the small businesses in the city. Whether it's going over to Rose Garden on Coon Rapids Boulevard and getting dinner, eating at El Laurel, getting to know the people that work there, letting everybody know that, we're not the stereotype of a second-rank suburb that, doesn't want people of different backgrounds to move out. You just, go to these businesses, spend your money there, and like I say, get to know them, and it's kind of fun but weird when you go to some places and you walk in and you have somebody call you by your first name, and then you're with friends and they look at you like, how does the guy know your name? Well, I've been here, 3 times a week or something.
Thank you. Dale Cook.
Well, recently, through our Coon Rapids Lions, and you notice I've mentioned that a few times, you just don't know how great this organization is. Anyway, we reached out this spring, or I did, over at the Hmong Church. I went in there to take them a flyer for our Hooked on Fishing, which was our 28th year. I couldn't believe how well I was received. And the head pastor over there says, well, would you like for me to take your flyer and talk about it at Sunday? And I go, you would? And I go, and he did, and they showed up. We fed over 800 kids at our 28th year of Hooked on Fishing. We gave over 275 new rods and reels, 275 new soft-sided tackle boxes. We hit it out of the park. That's what we do.
Thank you. Okay, Julia, you'll be first on this next question. Past city councils and leaders have modified city code to allow money from charitable gambling that once went to needy individuals and organizations, and instead now is going to athletic groups and the city's own foundation. Do you see a need to change that code again?
Let's see. Well, I think I was involved way back when gambling first started in the charitable gambling in Coon Rapids. And it went to a lot of the great organizations. The Lions did a lot of that too. I feel that they've worked together as a team to figure out where the best needs are for the dollars. And there, to me, was a reason that they needed to change those. So I would like to hear more information on how we could use those, and also with the athletics, helping children out is a big part of that, I feel too. Thank you.
Thank you. Brad, go ahead.
Well, I learned a long time ago not to make statements without knowing a lot of the facts, so I guess I would like to know more about that ordinance change and how it's affecting the charitable gambling. But I do believe that a good source of revenue for a lot of the sporting and athletic organizations would be the charitable gambling. I think those are great ways to keep our youth out of trouble and active and healthily fit. So I would just have to look at it and see if we need to make modifications to allow for more of what you described.
Thank you. Don HEIKKILA, what is your idea about charitable gambling money?
Well, I think supporting the athletic organizations in the city is important. We have to have opportunities for the young people. I would much rather see them playing basketball, soccer, football, hockey, whatever, than have a lot of free time to get. I was a kid a long time ago, but I remember free time, and free time is not always a good thing. So I'm supportive of keeping the charitable gambling proceeds for the athletic organizations.
Thank you. Bill Mahaffey?
I too don't know enough about the change to say one way or another. But at the same time, I think that the charitable gambling that does go to the athletic departments and different organizations is helpful and needed. You know, it's obviously doing a good service to the kids today, so we don't have problems. It gets them involved, and so like I say, I just need to get more information.
Great. Dale Cook?
Thank you. Regarding the charitable gambling, like I said, I think this is my fourth time, through our Lions Club, we have given back to the city over $6.3 million. Take a drive down Hanson at Lions Coon Creek Park. We wrote a check one time for $500,000. That's a lot of money. That fancy sign that sits out there, we paid for that. We have purchased a car for the senior center. We have scholarship funds at the high school, the vocational school, and the college. In fact, the president of the college came over and spoke to us, and he says, nobody has given more money to us than the Coon Rapids Lions. That's quite a statement. I'm very proud of that. But we used to be able to give away a lot more, but they went and kicked our knees out from under us and took our way, the ways of making the money away from us. So there you go.
Okay. Jerry Pierce? What do you think about the charitable gambling money?
Well, the way I have looked at it all the time is parents get in with their kids for 2-3 years, then they're gone. They forget about what they have created. They have created a foundation for those kids to bring it forward with all the athletes. I don't care what athlete that you are. But it's the parents forget where their money's coming from when they're coaching these teams. I don't care if you're a school teacher or this or that. You don't hang with it. They don't hang with it. They're in there 2 or 3 years and they're gone. And they don't keep that money coming to the kids that deserve it. They're the ones that have started these things. They should continue on. Continue on what you are looking forward to. And they're not doing that. That's why there's too much of friendly too much of friendly stuff with this money going to friends.
Okay. I think we have to go to final closing statements here in order to get us all in. So we'll start with Brad GRESKOWIAK.
Okay, well, once again, thanks for the opportunity to address everyone and to be here tonight. In terms of closing statements, people ask me, I'm out knocking doors, and they ask me, you're running for city council, they ask me, what's your beef? What's your beef with the city? And honestly, I don't have a beef with the city. Generally, I think our city is run pretty well. Again, low crime, great neighborhoods, a lot going for it. 15 years ago, I made a conscious decision I needed to move. Our family was growing, I needed to move. I made a conscious decision to move from one side of Coon Rapids to another side of Coon Rapids so that I could stay in the community and have a little bit bigger house for my family. Now, as I'm getting older and my in-laws, more and more, it's looking like my in-laws are most likely going to move down to the Twin Cities rather than keeping them in assisted living where they are up north. With that said, I'm vested in this community for the long term. I want to make sure it's vibrant well into the future, and I think I can contribute to the City Council in making that happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Don HEIKKILA, what is your final words for the city?
I too am a happy resident of Coon Rapids. We have been for 23 years. We raised our girls here. They went through Coon Rapids Middle School. Both are college graduates now. One's soon to join the Air Force and the other is working for Amazon. So we've had a successful stay here in Coon Rapids. I would hope that someday they might choose to come back and raise their families here. I want Coon Rapids to remain a good, comfortable place where people think highly of us and people will come back generation after generation.
Thank you. Dale Cook.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to come here tonight.
I forgot Bill. I'm sorry, Bill.
I'm easily
I
forgotten.
wrote down my number 3 before I should have. Go ahead.
I'm easily forgotten, so. I was gonna say thanks for putting this on, but my gosh, I got forgotten. I'm just kidding. No, after being born and raised in Coon Rapids and leaving, deciding to come back, I love the city. I love some of the stuff about it. I don't agree with some of the stuff that goes on inside City Hall as far as, again, being able to make some changes or get some stuff done without getting nickeled and dimed. I like that we have small businesses in this community. I think we need to have more. And I think we need to have a good balance between both business and residents and try and keep things, fun to live here.
Thank you. Now Jerry Pierce. What? Oh, I'm sorry. I already had my 4 down. That's the problem. All right. So, Dale, you get to go now.
Okay, sure. Okay. All right. Anyway, I go back to Coon Rapids Boulevard, $42 million. And guess who's picking up the slack? Every one of you people here in this room. You ever seen your taxes go down? I haven't. I got a big house. Been there for 26 plus years. You can't keep operating like this. If you think I'm kidding you, go take a look at what happened to Vadnais Heights. They built that sports complex. They ended up selling it for pennies on the dollar. Their credit rating went in the tank. Now that means you can't borrow money at good rates. Now let's talk about Stockton, California. They said, oh, we're going to build this huge marina and they'll come. They built it, didn't work. No, so then they said, well, go and build a huge office complex. That didn't work. Here's what did happen. They filed bankruptcy. They laid off 25% of the cops, 25% of the firefighters. Crime runs rampant. Is that what you want? I don't.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now Jerry Pierce.
What's the question?
The question is your closing statement.
My closing statement? I just want to put forward that I'm very, very proud of my family. And my family, and I think it goes back on what the family has done. We had 11 kids, 22 grandchildren, 3 great-grandchildren, 2 of them were twin girls. We're waiting, my oldest son, Kerry, he's 56, gonna have his first granddaughter in the next month. So I think what we have accomplished, my wife and I, show the kind of people we are, the hard workers that we are. But people out there, I'll tell you, the only way I can do what you do for you, what you want done, is you must elect me as Council Ward number 1. That is what I'm asking for, a chance, because any other way, they just blow you off and they don't listen to nothing. And I'm sure that I can get it done with all my construction experience.
Thank you.
I want to thank the ladies again, and I think it's a great program.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Julia Stevens.
I too want to thank you for coming out tonight and listening to us. And I think Coon Rapids is a great place to live. I wouldn't want to live anyplace else. I feel that we're on the right track. The past councils have done a great job at getting things done. I know because of the economy, things slowed down. We've had to change, we've had to revamp. But I really want to be a part of that. I want to show the next generation that we need to stay involved and to give back to our community. Whether, it's volunteering for the Planning Commission or keep going and being an elected official on the council. I would love to be able to represent you in Ward 1. And I hope that you will get out and vote on August 9th at the primary and then again in November. So thank you very much for coming out tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you all for participating and for running for office. Coon Rapids can be proud to have so many citizens that are willing to serve the public in this way. So I congratulate you on that. We'll take a short break now. We'll take a short break, and would the Ward 4 candidates please come up?
Hey Minnesota, it's election year, so let's get ready to vote. mnvotes.org can help. First, check if you're registered to vote at your current address. If not, register to vote online. Then, check out your sample ballot and learn about the candidates and issues. Use the polling place finder to see where you vote. Or avoid the polling place by voting early, before Election Day. Request your absentee ballot online. Your vote starts at mnvotes.org.
Welcome back to the Candidate Forum for Ward 4 of Coon Rapids Council candidates. The primary election will be held on August 9th for these candidates. There are 5 of them in this ward, and the top 2 vote getters will go on to the general election in November 9th. So our first question is describe your background and community involvement. And we'll start with Philip Rosar.
Good evening. First of all, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for this opportunity. My name's Phil Rosar. I lived in Coon Rapids for approximately 42 years. Been married to the same gal all that time. Have 3 children, 6 grandsons, 1 great-grandson, and 1 great-granddaughter. What qualifies me to do this is I am active in the city every day in the businesses I run, which I have run and started within the city of Coon Rapids, most of which are real estate, land development, property management, and a lot of the things that we seem to be lacking at the staff level in the city of Coon Rapids. I'm pretty well versed on engineering the sewer and water lines within the cities, which are aging. I understand how to read contracts. I understand how to, I guess I'm done.
You'll have more chance to talk. Jenny Geisler, what is your background and community involvement?
Hi, thank you. Thank you to the League of Women Voters. I'm Jenny Geisler. I've been a resident of Coon Rapids for 33 years. Prior to that, from the day I was born, my aunt and uncle lived here, and it was always a second home. I currently am the council member for Ward 4. I was appointed in 2015 to fill an opening. I'm a member of the Met Council Land Use Advisory Commission. I've been on the Coon Rapids Planning Commission for 16 years prior to joining the council. The last 3 years I was the chair of that commission. I was on the Coon Rapids Economic Development Commission for 2 years. I served as an election judge in the city for 14 years, as well as on the Coon Rapids Boulevard Task Force. So for me, it's about a commitment to our city. It's about how do we make the place that we live in the best that it can be, and we can only do that by participating. And so I think my record shows that I've done that over the last 15, 16 years.
Thank you. Michael Benson, what is your background in community involvement?
My background in community involvement, I grew up in Coon Rapids. My family moved here in 1978. I went through the school system here, met my wife here, chose to raise my daughters here. I love the city. I've served in various capacities in sports and things of that nature, helping raise my daughters. I love my city, and the city needs a cheerleader. And for those people who know me, know I have a loud voice, and I tend to be heard. That's it.
Good. Thank you. Jill BJORN, what is your background in community involvement?
Hi, thank you for having me. I was raised in New Hope. I came here 11 years ago when I had married my husband. We have a 7-year-old daughter. I started out in law enforcement. My degree is in law enforcement. I worked for New Hope Police Department for 4 years until I got hired on with Caribou in finance. I married my husband 11 years ago, like I said. He's been a resident of Coon Rapids for 38 years. So he has passion about the city, and I have passion about the city. I want the city to succeed. I want my daughter to grow up in a great city and have a great life in this community.
Thank you. Chuck Filipczyk.
Thank you to the league, the sponsors, and all of you for attending. My wife and I are both lifelong residents of the city of Coon Rapids. We met in junior high, are proud graduates of the class of 1979 from the high school, and we too have chosen to raise our family in the city. We've lived in rental housing, we lived in a starter home, and for the past, I think about 18 years, live in our current home in Ward 4. I'm very passionate about the city. It was a great place to be raised, a great place to raise our children, and my goal, if elected, is to continue that, to move the city forward, to continue to provide the benefits that it has throughout these years.
Thank you. Our next question, what are your qualifications for serving on the Coon Rapids City Council, and why are you running for this office? And we'll start with Jenny GEISLER.
Thank you. So qualifications are really that this is work that I've been doing for the last 16, 18 years, working with the city as part of the Economic Development Commission, the Planning Commission, and currently with the council. And what I bring to the council is a unique or a little different perspective. I'm a principal consultant for an IT consulting firm, but we also specialize in management and leadership development and coaching. So my day job is to go in and find operational ways to do things better, to find ways that instead of just running an operation, you can find ways to make things grow or to transform and do things differently. And so that's what I have been bringing to the council for the last year and a half that I've been on it, to find ways that we can look to do things differently within the city as our city is becoming more diverse, and there are environmental and societal challenges that we need to find new and different ways to address issues.
Thank you. Michael Benson, tell us about your qualifications and reasons for running.
My qualifications are short. Being a lifelong resident of the city, serving on the Coon Rapids Nordic Ski Booster Club, serving people in general. I don't join an organization and sit in the back and wear the t-shirt. I get my hands dirty, I get right in, I get involved. I love the city. The city has a branding issue. By trade, I'm a HVAC service tech residentially. I get into all parts of the metro area and surrounding communities. I talk about where I live. And when I talk about where I live, a lot of times I don't get a favorable response. And we need to change that as a city. if we're going to continue to attract young families and keep our housing stock in our city moving in the proper direction. Thank you.
Thank you. Jill Bjorn, what are your qualifications and why are you running?
My qualifications are I care, and I'm a mother and businesswoman. I care about my city, I care about where I live, I care about the community and the people that I live next to and my kids play with and that I see at the store every day. I'm a businesswoman, I work in finance, I am fiscally responsible, I will make sure that the tax dollars are well spent. And I'm a mom. I nurture and I want what's best for my child, and I would like to see better programs for kids, such as Park and Rec, better use of parks. That's my qualifications.
Thank you. Chuck Filipsik, what are your qualifications and why are you running?
I'm an attorney during my day job and worked at the same company now for over 26 years. And in that role, I sit on a number of boards and management committees of joint ventures. And these are ventures with competing entities that have come together to produce new products and to work together. So I think that it's given me a lot of experience and expertise in dealing with challenging goals and bringing diverse groups together to move forward and to progress. And that is something that I want to bring to the city. It's a great city, but it's a city like all suburbs that are facing challenges, and I believe I can help the city progress in that manner.
Thank you. Philip Rosar.
Can you repeat the question?
Yes. What are your qualifications for serving on the Coon Rapids Council and why are you seeking this office?
As a lifelong resident of the city of Coon Rapids, 42-year resident of the city of Coon Rapids, I spent probably the last 20 years right down here at City Hall. I know the workings of the City Hall inside and out. I know most of the people. As far as the city goes, my qualifications in business is I currently sit on the board of directors of several townhouse associations. I'm actually a member of Riverview 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, Innsbrook, Village Townhomes, and a couple of these organizations I'm the president of. I'm also a member of the VFW, have been for 40 plus years, the American Legion and the Royal Order of the Purple Heart. I served in the Marine Corps during the Vietnam War, and I learned one thing, which is the Marine Corps creed, which is Semper Fidelis, and I've lived by it my whole life.
Thank you. Okay, our next question is, what is your vision for Coon Rapids for the next 4 years? And we'll start with Michael Benson.
My vision for the next 4 years would be continued growth. Obviously, Coon Rapids Boulevard needs to be continued to be worked on. We face many challenges as a city when it comes to the economy and development and getting that where it needs to be. We are not unlike many suburbs around the metro with boulevards like Coon Rapids Boulevard. I want to see us continue to go in the right direction, and we are moving in the right direction when it comes to the development. Thank you.
Thank you. Jill Bjorn, what is your vision for the Coon Rapids for the next 4 years?
In the next 4 years, I see change. There's generational change. The older generation are moving out of their homes into the new facilities that are developing on Coon Rapids Boulevard, which is wonderful. They look beautiful, the ones that are currently built and the ones that they're building. But there also needs like many have said on here, there needs to be updates to Coon Rapids Boulevard. When the older generation moves into those housing, there's not much around there for them. There's no grocery stores, there's no coffee shop. It would be nice to have something like that for them to, take their grandkids to, and there's not even an ice cream shop anymore. So I think in the next 4 years, there needs to be a lot of development on Coon Rapids Boulevard, and then also opportunity for home improvements, for the older homes, for the new generations to move in and start families.
Thank you. Chuck Philipsik, what is your vision for Coon Rapids for the next 4 years?
I too am focused on the challenges of growth, but what I see is we are aging and we are becoming more diverse. And what people look for in living in a suburb 10, 20, 30 years ago is different today. And I think everyone wants a community that's walkable, a community where you can socialize and exercise and shop without getting in your car, without driving to the super malls. And where I see the growth in the city is focusing on neighborhood-centric growth, ethnic restaurants, shopping that is focused to our changing neighborhoods. And to me, if you look at Northeast Minneapolis or even Columbia Heights, people are flocking to those areas not because of the superstores, but because of the localized communities that are growing there.
Thank you. Philip Rosar, what is your vision for Coon Rapids for the next 4 years?
I see pretty much what is happening right now, which I think what has happened in the last couple of years has been good for the city as far as the people we've gotten on the council. We've gotten a mayor who's a cheerleader. We have a lawyer on the board. We have a police officer who's running unopposed. And I believe security is going to become a big issue in the future. I believe that we need as a city to make security our #1 priority. I believe Coon Rapids Boulevard will start working itself out. I believe we need someone with economic skills to make that happen at a reasonable rate. And what's happening and what's proposed for Coon Rapids Boulevard right here does not make financial sense for the citizens of Coon Rapids the way it's being proposed.
Thank you. Jenny Geisler, what is your vision for Coon Rapids in the next 4 years?
The next 4 years are going to be growth and just being able to address the changing nature of our citizens. So yes, Coon Rapids Boulevard does have challenges, and it was depressed by the economy for a while, and we do have developers who are now starting to be interested, and the city is having conversations to look at possibilities of Port Riverwalk. We're down the road on working with the Riverdale Transit Station area to start to look at a possibility of more growth there. We've seen an awful lot of development with Mercy Hospital. There's more coming. And all of that will add to the vibrancy of our city. With that, we need to keep focused on how do we ensure the housing stock moves, and from a life cycle perspective, that we're bringing in, housing stock that our aging residents can stay in our city, which will open up homes for new families to come in and use our Homes for Generations program. So it's making sure that we are meeting the needs of our citizens by allowing the life cycle of our housing to grow.
Thank you. I'd like to now go to one of our co-sponsors, the Transformative Circle, and they have a question for us.
My name's Todd Gabrielson, and about a year ago, most of you remember the incident at the Applebee's restaurant where there was a woman of Muslim faith that was struck by a bottle, and she was simply out having a meal with her nieces. When I saw that, I called the city and see if there was a diversity committee, because I've always been someone who has been in favor of doing something about it. I'm not one of these people that sits in the back of the room wearing a t-shirt. I want to get involved. So I got involved in this group. In fact, the woman I talked to said that my call came in at the most perfect time because they were in the process of starting such a group. Transformative Circle is the name of the group formed from an action plan on October 21st, 2015. It was developed in concentration and support with the Coon Rapids Lions Club and the city of Coon Rapids. The Community Strength Foundation and the Coon Rapids community partners. So the whole purpose of this group is to help build better relationships with our increasingly diverse people that are coming in. And I'm also on the planning committee right now, and we have an event that's going to be taking place on September 11th. And the title, I've gotten to know 3 or 4 Muslim men, as well as Christians of other diversity. And the topic is going to be on Muslim-Christian conversations. It's going to take place here at the Civic Center. We're going to have round tables, and we're going to give the gentleman of the Muslim faith to share about Islam. And then we're going to have a time for questions. And then we're going to give the Christian pastor a chance to talk about Christianity and have a roundtable discussion. I invite every single one of you to come to that event. And we got the final flyer put together. So the question here that Transformative Circles came up with was, what benefits have you seen in either your workplace or neighborhood that have been brought about by a growing cultural and religious diversity? How have you been involved?
Okay, we'll start with Jill BJORN.
I work in a corporate office, and there's obviously a lot of diversity around. Everybody's a great person to work with. People I deal with in the community are all great people to live with and see around, the neighborhoods. I think, whether you go to church on Sunday morning or you go to mosque on whatever night, that's everybody's decision. Everybody's entitled to their own religion and their own beliefs. And we just need to all be accepting and get along, and we're in this community together. We need to pull together and be one Coon Rapids.
Thank you. Chuck Lipsick. How would you, what are the advantages of diversity that you found in your workplace or community?
I had an interesting experience just yesterday. I was in Oxford, Mississippi, and at the city square there was a protest going on with Confederate flags, and it was a little bit of a shock for a northern boy, and the incident at Applebee's I found extremely embarrassing for the city and for our community. And my experience in diversity, besides the workplace, is my neighborhood has changed. It's changed dramatically, and in my mind it's changed for the better. We have, it's an interesting neighborhood, lots of different people. We've seen 9 or maybe 11 candidates so far. There is no one of color or different ethnicity, and it's something I'd like to see change.
Thank you. Philip Rosar, what is your experience with this?
Well, as regards to the woman from Applebee's, my daughter, who's sitting in the back room, became friends with this woman and introduced me to her, and I became friends with this woman. So I believe diversity is more of a one-on-one thing than anything. As far as diversity and things I've done in the past, the El Loro Mexican restaurant right down the street, I own the building. I rented it to someone who said no one would rent to him because he was Mexican. very successfully, has about 4 or 5 operations now. The transmission place on Coon Rapids Boulevard, just north of Northtown there, I owned the building there. The gentleman was Asian, same story. No one would rent to him. I rented to him. He's since bought the building, very successful. So I've actually participated in diversity. Thank you.
Thank you. Jenny Geisler.
Thank you. When Lori Anderson started what is now called the Transformation Circle, she invited me to participate, and I've participated in all of the early meetings and the formation of the group, because I believe that it takes a person, and it's about getting rid of prejudices, which are usually based in fear, that can be solved by connecting person to person, and I think Mr. Rosar mentioned that. And it's understanding how do you get to know somebody, and you're going to find that you have so much more in common with them than you have differences. And with that, you can learn more and you can grow personally. So from me, my perspective is participating in that group as I can. The first Thursday of the month is when they meet. I have some work conflicts, so I can't usually make it. But it's supporting and getting to know people and understanding that you may not know everything. Get to know the person on a human level, and that's where we're going to start.
Thank you. Michael Benson, what is your experience with diversity?
Growing up, Coon Rapids was not a very diverse place. I've seen it change in the last 30 years for the better. The incident at Applebee's broke my heart. It put our city and our citizens in a real negative light. Even though the aggressor didn't even live in our city, it just happened in our city. I work in a field that is not very diverse. Service technicians tend to be white males. The company I work for, however, is very diverse, probably one of the most diverse in our field. Everybody deserves dignity. Everybody deserves respect. We all put our pants on one leg at a time in the morning. We're all human beings.
Thank you. Okay, our next question has to do with the park bond. What is your position on that? And maybe you can explain exactly what it is, because I'm not familiar with that. Is it community school to, or community center too, or?
It was a park bond referendum that was passed a couple of years ago.
Okay, so what do you think of the park bond? And we'll start with Chuck Filipczyk.
Not knowing, I guess, all of the details, in general, I'm in favor of the city spending money to improve, and I think parks are one of the primary strengths of this community. And if the question is, should we be spending money improving our parks? Absolutely. And I think as we look forward, we also need to look at the parks and all of our services and make sure that they are servicing the changing diversity of the community. I've been here a long time. Football used to be king. Hockey used to be king. We have soccer. Now we're moving into lacrosse and other sports, and I think we need to keep focused on making sure we change the city to meet the needs of the changing citizens.
Thank you. Philip Rosar, what do you want to say about parks?
Well, first of all, the way the park bond was done, I'm against. Was against, still am against. I think I'm first, and I am for parks, don't get me wrong, but the way it was put together, it was poorly put together. It was a guesstimate, not an estimate. They had no idea what they were going to spend the money on, where they were going to spend it, and how they were going to spend it. There was no pre-planning done. We just went out because of one particular person got a park bond bill passed, to the tune of $17 million, which we're already over budget on, didn't know what to spend it on, and we're spending money in the wrong places and too much money in some places, and some places aren't even going to get it. And since the bond issue is for all the citizens, I think it's unfair to the people whose parks are not going to be touched.
Okay, Jenny Geisler, Parks.
So, yes, a couple of years ago, a park referendum was passed in the city, and so it's a testament to the citizens of Coon Rapids that they value the parks. We have a wonderful park system and trail system. So with those funds, you know, Sand Creek Park is being undertaken. Mason Park, Pheasant Ridge Park, Peppermint Stick Park, Woodcrest Park. I mean, we're doing a lot of different things at the parks. We're moving with, pickleball courts are getting added because there's a new contingent of people who are looking for different services at the parks. We're looking at, there's more of the skate parks. There's new park we're looking at will have an accessible type of playground to be able to meet the needs of challenged, children, so everybody can play. So it's looking at how do we use the funds and how do we spread them across our parks to get parks that meet the needs of all of our citizens, which is a jewel in our community, all over the parks.
Thank you. Michael Benson, your parks.
I can honestly say I don't know enough about the referendum to speak intelligently about how it was formed. However, parks are a livability issue. We need to maintain and update our parks in order to attract people who want to live here and raise their families. Hooking in trails and getting bike transit, which has just blossomed in the last 10 years. Parks are a city function, and people, we do need to pay for them somehow, some way. We do a good job in this community of taking care of the money that the taxpayers entrust us with.
Thank you. Jill Bjorn, how do you feel about the park bond issue?
Well, I can't speak much to the referendum. I'd have to do more research on that. I don't know much about that. All I know is about my family's use of the parks. We love biking. My daughter loves going to the parks and playing on the playgrounds. Recently, well, not recently, because it was early this summer, we went to Pheasant Ridge Park and realized it was completely gone, and it's still gone. And I think it would have been nice to kind of speed up that process, especially for kids with summer break. Kids should be outside. Kids should not be playing video games. They should be together, meeting new kids in the neighborhood, playing together. So I feel that should have been sped up. And then I also feel that movie quote, if you build it, they will come. Not necessarily true. I think there needs to be programs at those parks for kids. I think there needs to be, summer programs where kids could meet there with a leader and play and have organized games and activities. I think there needs to be more for the parks for the kids.
Thank you. Next question. What strategies would you support that attract businesses and jobs to Coon Rapids? Philip Rosar.
Okay, I'm sorry. I personally have already done a lot of attracting businesses to the city of Coon Rapids. We used to have an economic development commission. The economic development commission said we need commercial buildings. If we build them, they'll come. And guess what? I built them and they came. A lot of those businesses are still here today, such as the ones in front of the Park and Ride, the daycare center across the street, the ones down on Evergreen, 8501 Evergreen. I did not build that building. I bought it and brought tenants in to occupy them. Along with that, I was told we needed cheap housing so that the workers would have a place to live. I personally went out and bought a lot of real estate in which we could turn into rental property for the workers. So that was an asset to bring businesses into the community. I could talk on this for 4 hours. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Jenny Geisler, what about attracting businesses and jobs to Coon Rapids?
Well, I think that we work with our existing businesses to try and find ways that we can to support them with their businesses. But we also are looking at ways to bring in new housing, which when you've got more rooftops, more people, that's where you're going to get more of the jobs also, and new businesses, because there are more people to shop at your businesses. And so by keeping our housing stock vibrant and keeping our citizens and our growth of population helps keep our businesses healthy, because they've got the consumers who will work at their businesses as well as be the workers of their businesses.
Thank you. Michael Benson, what strategies would you support to attract businesses and jobs as a council
I would
member?
support figuring out ways to lower some of the business taxes that are imposed on some of the businesses here in town, to make this area more attractive for them to move to and build jobs, be it tax increment financing, things of that nature. We do need more rooftops in Coon Rapids. If we had more building going on and more people moving in, more business would be attracted to build here. We've offered many businesses really great rates and land, and they don't want to come because we don't have enough rooftops. So attracting more people here with our aging housing stock would help.
Thank you. Jill Bjorn, what about attracting businesses and jobs to Coon Rapids?
Well, I think there's a lot of opportunity for businesses on Coon Rapids Boulevard. It would be nice to see a lot of small businesses on that road. I've heard it referenced as Riverwalk before. Well, it would be nice to actually walk from business to business there, walk to a small business, do some shopping, go out to eat at a nice little local ethnic restaurant possibly. So I think Coon Rapids Boulevard has a lot of possibility to offer those jobs and those businesses. And then housing, I think we're moving in the right direction, moving into the senior high-rises or the senior living and the assisted living, and then offering opportunities for families to move into the older homes and start families and have those.
Thank you. Chuck Phillipsik, please tell us about your businesses and jobs attraction for Coon Rapids.
I think small businesses addresses both issues. If we can help encourage and grow small businesses run and employing people in the community. And so I think we need to take a look at zoning and take a look at disincentives to small businesses. Find ways to encourage, again, the small local community business, as opposed to necessarily looking for the home run or the large company to create jobs. So I think that type of small business, shopping, services, restaurants, bars, creates both value to the residents, and also it's employing the people who are living here.
Thank you. We'll move now to our closing statements, and we'll start with Jenny Geisler.
Thank you. Well, first I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters and everyone for joining us here tonight, and those of you who are watching at home. I would like to say that I've been proud to serve and volunteer with the city through my economic development, task forces, election judge, planning commission, and then being on the council for the last year and a half. And I'd like to be able to continue that, to be able to help this city as we learn to do things that we do as a city and have to do as a city, and find new ways to do them so we can adapt to the challenges and the changing needs that the city is experiencing. And I think that my education and work background, I can help bring a good perspective to the city to find ways that we can achieve those goals.
Thank you. Michael Benson, your closing statement.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for putting on this forum tonight, and the City of Coon Rapids for allowing us to use the space. Coon Rapids needs a cheerleader. There's a lot of issues facing our community. We have a lot of good things going on here. And not a lot of people know about them. I want to see, when I tell people I'm from Coon Rapids, I want to see smiles on their faces. The people here are talented. We have all I can do is ask for your vote on August 9th. Thank you.
Thank you. Jill Bjorn, your closing statement.
Thank you to the League of Women Voters for putting this on. I just want to say that I will do my best if you vote for me. I'm just a mom. I'm a businesswoman. I want what's best for my city, the city that my family is living in. I'm honest. I'm caring. I do what's right. I'm fiscally responsible. My parents lived in New Hope for many, many, many years. And just last year, I convinced them to move to Coon Rapids. So they are residents of Coon Rapids. So I have my whole family here has stake in this place, and I want to make it right, and I want to make it good, and I want to make this a great place to live. And thank you.
Thank you. Chuck Filipczyk.
I too agree, it's a great city. I've enjoyed being a lifelong resident. I'm saddened to see my old neighbors leaving, and some of my new neighbors, once they're able to buy homes, choosing to move to different communities. I'd like to continue and work with the city and work with the communities so that my new neighbors decide, like we did, to have generation after generation live in the city. It has a lot to offer. I think we just need to continue to progress, look forward, look to serve the needs of our changing and diverse community, and make the city, continue the city. I almost said it, one of those terrible, one of those very common campaign slogans. The city's great, let's keep it that way.
Thank you. Philip Rosar.
First of all, I'd like to touch on a couple things I forgot to touch on when it comes to bringing business in. We have an unfair advantage in this city called the franchise tax, which raises approximately $3 million on the backs of businesses. And it's a disadvantage into bringing businesses into this area, because a business could go somewhere else and get by a lot cheaper. My background is an analyst. I analyze everything. I drive my wife crazy. Everything that's on TV, I analyze it backwards and forwards. I believe that we could cut taxes in this community and improve the services if we were spending the money in the right places and not doing the wrong things with it. I'll quit. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, candidates, for being willing to run for office and for coming here and speaking tonight. And thank you to the audience for to the audience for being dedicated voters who want to know what's becoming informed in this way. One more reminder, the other office that's going to be on your ballot, all over the state of Minnesota actually, is the Supreme Court. There are 3 candidates for one Supreme Court office, and there is information on those 3 on the Minnesota Bar Association website. So go to, Google Minnesota Bar Association, and you can read about answers that they gave to these questions. So it's kind of like a candidate forum where you don't have them in front of you. Also, visit LWVABCMN.org. That's our website. Or mnvotes.org also has a lot of election information. And remember to vote on August 9th in the primary. This concludes the Coon Rapids City Candidates Forum for Wards 1 and 4. On behalf of the League of Women Voters, the ABC, and our co-sponsors, the Coon Rapids Rotary, Transformative Circle, and Alpha Rho Chapter of Delta Kappa Gamma, thank you and good night.
Democracy is not a spectator sport. This is a favorite slogan of the League of Women Voters, a group begun 90 years ago to help educate newly enfranchised women who had finally won the right to vote.
No, wait! The League of Women Voters does more than just encourage you to go out and vote. You know that, right?
The League of Women Voters has been a training ground for some great leaders.
The League brings issues you care about to the front stage.
Oh, and the League of Women Voters isn't just for women.
Men, you can join too. Everyone is welcome.
I'm joining the League of Women Voters.
I'm joining the League of Women Voters to represent my generation and other generations to come too.
Do something that matters.
Let your voice be heard.
Don't wait for change, be the change.
Join the League of Women Voters.